Yeah, why don't I start? Yeah, so Elizabeth, I mean, again, thank you so much for being here. It's
Thanks for
awesome
having me.
collaborating with you. And this is obviously the first time our community has had a chance to meet you. So just want to thank you for all of your hard work. Anytime, we have an ad that gets rejected, which happens like 5 times a day, Elizabeth is the person that gets all of that resolved.
You want to talk about like the fun things, right? Like product development and media strategy, but like you also have to address the ad disapproval. Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, someone's got to do it, right? You do the high and the low.
Exactly.
So,
a little bit of everything.
So, the one thing I want to start with is we have seen a dramatic efficiency in Facebook advertising since the beginning of COVID, right? It's been pretty interesting to see. I mean, we were averaging somewhere around a $5 cost per lead as of December last year. In March, we went from 5 to about 450. Then in April, we went from 450 to little under 4 to like 380. And fast forward to right now, we are slightly under $3 cost per lead, which is a 40, 50% almost decrease in the cost per lead, which of course, more leads equals more opportunities for clients, and conversions and all of the ROI calculations our clients care about, right? They can spend less and get more, or spend more and get even more. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, what has driven that, improvement over time? Is it improvements on the Facebook algorithm side, Facebook side? Is it some sort of network effect that's happening? Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer your question directly, all of the above, right? There are a number of kind of dynamics that are certainly at play here. I think number one is when everyone got stuck at home, what are we doing more of? Consuming content on the internet, right? We're looking for updates from friends and family. And it's really became a way where it was the only way we were able to stay connected, right? So we definitely saw huge increases in usage on the platform, particularly not only on Facebook, right, but certainly a lot of like one-to-one communication. We saw video usage spike dramatically on the platform as well. So there's definitely more eyeballs and more time spent on the platform that was contributing. And then if you think about market dynamics too, like when, we thought we were hurtling towards a recession, it makes advertisers really have to think twice about what they're spending on the platform, how much they're spending, and really rethink some of their strategies. And of course, some advertisers, need to, hold back to understand, do they need to keep more cash on the balance sheet? So I think we saw a lot of interesting dynamics in terms of competition in the auction on the platform. And then that, in addition to, of course, you said Facebook's, we're always getting smarter, right? In terms of, the more data that kind of flows into the platform, the better the machine can make decisions. So our algorithms obviously are constantly improving and getting better and smarter at understanding, is this the right person to deliver this ad to? Do we think this person is going to deliver on the results that the campaign was set out to achieve?
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think the data backs that up because, while the cost per click has decreased, which is obviously driving a lot of this, our conversion rate has increased, and so it's a combination of the two. And, Howard, what was your phrase from March? Something about conquering tomorrow. Do you remember that? You're on mute.
He's on mute.
Let's see if someone from the audience. There we go. David.
Cultivate today,
send a
conquer
t-shirt to David
tomorrow.
Jambruno. Cultivate today, conquer tomorrow. That's a t-shirt.
Love it.
That's what I was saying when I was on mute.
Yeah.
If someone from the audience could come up with it. So Kiwi, David gets a t-shirt, a Ylopo t-shirt, super comfy. Cultivate today, conquer tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, that happened. Like, I thought it'd be a cultivate for a while. And I thought tomorrow was tomorrow, man. It happened quick. And, I know what we all experienced on the front lines, Elizabeth, I'm sure you've heard it from your real estate clients. there was that immediate sort of panic and like, oh, they're shutting down the real estate industry, right? But like it was really fairly sort of, it was scary, but fairly short-lived. And everybody has figured out how, we could have waves of shutdowns, right? I mean, everyone's figured out how to still buy and sell homes and engage on the real estate side and do it in a safe way, right? So we don't have as many open houses, right? But we have, virtual open houses now and lots of other ways to do it. So, and man, I'm in touch with people everywhere, all across North America, and they have never been busy. Our clients have never been busy. They are rocking and rolling. They wish that they had some more inventory, because really, really low inventory, unless you want to buy a, $5 million condo in New York City. Other than that, you got problems. So it's rocking and rolling. And like I said, despite what happens, from a opening up or not opening up situation, I think our industry is going to be fine, and we're just on a rocket ship.
Yep. Well, so Elizabeth, I guess my next question, again, going deeper into what's important for me as a digital marketer and what we can do on Facebook is ad targeting, right? With the HUD, kind of agreement, that was a while ago, maybe a year ago, right? That removed a lot of the targeting options inside Facebook. But the good news there, at least for our clients, maybe not for the broader industry, is that we are able to leverage some third-party partners that has enterprise data from a targeting perspective that allows us still to target major demographics like homeowners, first-time buyers, luxury goods buyers, all that kind of stuff that we're using on behalf of our clients. But in general, on the Facebook side, especially in relates to real estate, can you speak to what the future of ad targeting looks like on the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the future has always been kind of what we've been preaching right along. I guess that what I would say is that your own data, the data that you own. So yeah, whether that be first party targeting or third party partnerships, I think are also a great solution to this, become even more important, right? So, custom audiences, for example, right? You've spent years as an agent, right, cultivating your email lists, your contact lists, right? Why wouldn't you put those to work? And certainly creating what we're now calling, of course, special ad audiences based off of those lists. Also great, another amazing way, to continue outreach. So not just retargeting people who you want to stay connected and engaged with, but then trying to find more people who exhibit, right, the similar kind of behaviors and characteristics of those people, right? Something that, like I said, it's always been very important on our platform. It just has become even more important now in a world with, kind of more limited options. So that, and then, yeah, as you said, G, I think your third party segments are, they're amazing to have access to that, right? To have a list of people who we know are in market or near market. Again, it's hard to replace that. And what I would say was, again, something that's always been better than interests targeting, right? Again, if anyone's kind of looked at our interest targeting, they're broad, they're generic. It's not really getting to the in-market buyer that we really need to reach, right? So that's an amazing place to start. But then kind of a little bit, as we were talking about earlier, right? How important data is for the system to learn and optimize. I think just as important as targeting is, telling the system what you want to achieve is equally as important, right? So like lead ads, for example. What the system is doing when you're running a lead ads campaign is it's going within your target audience and it's looking for people who are most likely to submit a lead, right? Now contrast this with a traffic campaign, for example, right? The system's gonna go into your target audience and look for people who are most likely to click on your ad, right? So again, telling the system the action that is important to you and important to your business and what you want to drive, again, is just as important as cultivating a strong targeting audience.
Yep. Yeah. And, what I'd say in addition to that, and is lookalike audiences now called special category audiences?
Yes. So when we rolled out the updates for housing, employment, and credit, now our housing ads they're part of the special ad category. And then part of that rollout too was changing the lookalike model, right? So the things that you can't target by now anymore. So like age, gender, zip code, for example, we also stripped those things out of the lookalike model. And so since it's a different model, we call it the special ad audiences.
Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, so I get asked a lot by clients like, okay, you know, yes, Ylopo has access to third-party audiences, you know, and you're able to target homeowners, all this kind of stuff. But how do I, as an agent, do that type of marketing? You know, they feel like at this point it's a bit of a spray and pray approach. And I'd say, you know, using special ad audiences is the right approach. You know, what used to be lookalike audiences, right? And I, you know, what I've been told by Elizabeth and other people on her team is how important it is to have the right seed audience, the people that you are using to create the audiences, right? So what you're basically doing is you're looking for people who are most likely or have transacted with you, and then looking for other people in your market that have the similar characteristics, right? So instead of dumping everyone in your database into a audience and then doing a, you know, special ad audience to that custom audience, you know, what I would recommend is take your hot prospects, the people you're working with, take your recently closed deals, even if that is a much lower number than your overall database, and only use those people as part of your custom audience as the seed individuals in order to create that special audience, special ad audience. Yeah, you know, and that's going to generate a couple million people on a national level that have similar characteristics that you can target, right? So that's how you go about doing that on your own. Would you say that's correct?
So well said. Yes, so well said. And I cannot emphasize this point enough. I think another thing to think about, just another kind of little detail on top of that is, who's in your seed audience? Do you want people to, again, visit your website? Okay, well, you know, take people who are spending a lot of time on your website and put them into your seed audience. Or do you want to generate leads? Take past people who have submitted leads, use that as your lead audience. Do you want to generate, right, interested buyers or sellers, right? Again, take those people out from your overall database and use that as a seed audience as well. The signal there is so important, and you certainly don't want to add any noise to that signal so that the system can pick up on it very clearly and deliver you a resulting special ad audience that's really going to help you identify those people for your target audience.
Awesome. Yeah, and by the way, anyone who has a question for Elizabeth, just ask it in the Q&A, and if we have time, we will definitely highlight all of those. Yeah, so let me change. Oh, actually, you know what? I've got one more question about what we're currently doing before we talk about the future. So dynamic real estate ads. I know you guys changed the name of that recently as well.
Why would we do that? Dare was so good. Oh.
So good. And I'm just so used to talking about it that way.
That's okay, me too. I still haven't broken out of calling them Dare, so no worries.
Yeah, just reminds me of when I was in 8th grade. So with dynamic real estate ads, this and as a reminder, you know, to clients, if you don't know what that is, you know, what Ylopo is able to do is take all of the listings in the MLS and upload it into the Facebook environment, and we are able to provide metadata on each of those listings to say what type of homes they are, what are the demographics they're appropriate for, you know, and we can micro segment, right? So we can say, hey, for the demographic of homeowners looking to trade up, here are the type of properties we want to show that person. For the investor, here are the type of properties we want to show. For a vacation buyer, here's the property we want to show, right? So we're able to take all that data, put it into Facebook, and we're able to use that to generate new leads for you by targeting audiences, as I just mentioned. And then just as important, we're able to remarket to your database and show them similar properties to the ones they viewed on your website, right? So this technology has been out for a couple of years now. And, you know, I'm proud of the fact that I think Ylopo was, you know, one of the earliest adopters. You know, we saw the potential right away, and, you know, we even tried to hack it with an e-commerce feed way back in the day. And, obviously we were thrilled when this platform launched. Can you talk to us a bit about what you see as the future for that product or for that feature?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say there's two main things that come to mind here. And the first one is just, again, constantly working to improve the algorithm for dynamic ads for real estate, right? So like, for example, today, one of the biggest factors is geography, right? Of course. But there's so much rich information that gets passed to us in the catalog. So, being able to kind of strengthen those signals, making sure that the machine is getting smarter at picking up on bed, bath. Again, obviously location was already a big one, but again, some of these other, features that we're getting and the system is learning from, right? So basically, I guess all this to summarize as getting better at predicting which property we should surface. Obviously, retargeting is a huge part of dynamic ads today, but again, really working on building out the prospecting arm of dynamic ads as well. Just making that stronger and better all the time is definitely something that the teams are working on. So that, and then, I think we really see an opportunity to get more advanced around the creative formats that are available for dynamic ads for real estate, right? I think particularly during COVID, what we've seen also is there's been a huge increase in video production, 3D tours, drone footage, right? So on and so forth for listings. And so the team's working on ways to figure out how we can get these more immersive creative formats to really execute with dynamic at scale as well. We see a real big opportunity there.
Yeah. I don't know if one of our partners sent this to me or if I spied this in your API docs, usually where I see,
Yep.
hidden little gems. But, I suspect whether it's sooner or later, we would have the ability to insert videos directly into the dynamic ads catalog, right? And, what we're seeing on the video side is obviously tremendous. That's one of the areas I want to talk to you about. But when we see that, our clients are really going to see how our Diva, our dynamic video ads platform, is going to sing, because I think we're probably the only platform in the industry that's able to make thousands of videos on demand. And for us to be able to do that for listings that, have a high probability of being interesting to consumers and putting that directly into a dynamic ads feed is, I think, going to be a game changer. So I'm really excited about that.
Couldn't agree more. I would say probably like most requested feature enhancement. And again, with video consumption being up, and again, the results that we've seen from it as, being a more immersive creative format than just the static video, see definitely a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Awesome. So Barry, I know you had a question. Let's move to the future, right? This is the exciting part. So I know you've been obviously always in the lab playing around with new Facebook ad products or ad ideas. What questions do you have for Elizabeth?
Yeah, no, Elizabeth, thank you for taking some time to speak to the community. I run a team in Virginia Beach, and I also work at Ylopo. I've got two things that one is on Marketplace, the other is on Facebook Messenger. I actually enjoy buying things on Facebook Marketplace just because, it integrates Facebook Messenger. There's a little bit of security, even though you guys might not advertise it. Like I can click on their profile, and if it's sketchy, maybe I don't visit them somewhere. So there's just a lot of benefits there. Is there any hope of companies like Ylopo being able to one day put listings for our users into Marketplace, or is it always going to be more manual?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, I mean, I also too love Marketplace, and I see a lot of friends too, who just are really appreciating the seamless experience that exists there. And if anyone belongs to one of their neighborhood groups, like buy sell groups, or even just giveaway groups, they're so active. Which is super interesting. And I'm seeing a lot of that executed through Facebook Marketplace as well. But yeah, so right now where Marketplace stands is we do have kind of these more formal partner integrations when it comes to rentals. And the way that the team approaches product development, and not just for marketplace, really across the board, is, you know, they see like what are organic or native behaviors that are happening without tools today, right? And that's how marketplace was born. A lot of sneakerhead groups and people buying and selling and trading their sneakers. And so we saw a lot of that with like rentals and sublets as well. And so that's where we kind of focused on the rentals and integrated with some partnerships there to get rental feeds up and running on to marketplace. I would say for sale is inevitable, right? The teams are certainly exploring it, but I think there are just a lot more nuances in the for sale market that the team really needed to slow down, take some time, understand, because of course, you know, when they execute, they want to make sure that they get it right, of course, right? So, but yes, similar to the way that partnerships exist today for rentals on marketplace, they certainly will exist in the future for sale as well.
Okay, awesome. That's exciting. I know that there's a lot of agents that are chomping at the bit to be able to scale that aspect of their marketing. The other question I have is around Facebook Messenger. And you know, there's lots of these like integrative partners like ManyChat and all these bots to where you can, you know, organize conversations. I know that Facebook Messenger and the advertising around it, it feels like it just hasn't taken off, and it might just be my perception. And I'm just curious, is Facebook Messenger just purely from like just an advertising platform and a call to action? Is that something that the product team is trying to develop a little bit more to give more opportunities for both lead conversion and more opportunities to be able to see ads and display our listings?
Yeah, certainly. And I think, you know, my own opinion here is that because it's conversations that I have with sophisticated advertisers today, right? I think when people think about advertising in Messenger, they immediately kind of go to, oh, I have to have some sort of chatbot, right? And I think that's not necessarily the case. But again, this kind of meme, I think, is really what prevents people from exploring Messenger more and kind of understanding like how they can use it as an advertising tool or vehicle, right? Another kind of nuance to advertising within Messenger as well is we've got display ads in Messenger, right? Which don't require you to open up a Messenger chat conversation, but we also have ads that will click, like say from Facebook feed into a Messenger conversation as well, right? So there's definitely that nuance there. But yeah, so to speak more specifically about, again, kind of opening up these conversations, I think that, yeah, people think that they have to have some robust chatbot to be able to facilitate this. And I think, again, I've even seen, you know, large sophisticated companies try to go build chatbots, and they're really complex and they're hard to do. And I think, yeah, right. And it takes so much time to develop them. And then you actually get it live and you've got limited functionality, and maybe, you know, people aren't quite, you know, into the experience that you've built, right? Or what, there's so many places to stumble along the way. But I would actually think about it in a much more simple fashion. I think there are a couple things that you can do, like automatic replies, right? So if someone reaches out to you on Messenger, right away you say, hey, setting expectations, I'll be able to get back to you within 24 hours, or, you know, just helping people understand, okay, now that I've reached out to you in this one-on-one conversation, what happens next? I also think there's a lot of value in, I don't necessarily consider these chatbots, but like simple decision trees, right? What are the first couple of questions that someone may ask? You know, if you can put some FAQs together and then direct people into the right kind of experience, so that when you show up as an agent, right, you already have some context in terms of, okay, what is this conversation going to be about, right? But yeah, it doesn't have to be anything crazy or complex. And so, yeah, you know, I think that us getting that message out that, you know, Messenger doesn't have to be this big, scary platform, and kind of communicating what are the ways that we think are valuable for you to engage with your future customers here will be critical to adoption and, of course, you know, continued development on that platform by way of ads.
Yeah, it's funny because I ordered a pizza through Domino's Facebook Messenger once, and it was so much work I never did it again. I was like, this is silly. Like,
right.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Barry, if you remember this, but we went down the path of building out our own messenger bot
Oh yeah, I do.
a while ago. Remember?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Yeah, guy in
and
Australia.
you know, the community does not want to know how much time we wasted on that particular project. You know, what I totally agree with Elizabeth. You know, at the end of the day, what we've seen, and Barry, I'd really like for you to share, you know, this is some secret sauce right here, high level, what you're doing on the recruiting side with Messenger, what I think is super interesting. But generally, my advice on Messenger is, you know, a couple of things. The first is that there is a product on Messenger to capture leads now. It's, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Elizabeth, is it just called Messenger Lead Ads?
Yes, that's exactly right. And I guess the easiest way to think about it is it's, instead of it being the lead form on Facebook, they're asking those questions sequentially in a Messenger conversation. Very seamless kind of integration between the two.
Yeah, and we played around with it. You know, the complexity for us as a business in doing all of that is to bring the Messenger conversations into our client CRMs. It's just such a hairy beast, and then getting linked back to Messenger to have the chat, and then do you have permission to actually be the one that's responding to the chat? Total nightmare, right? But as a consumer or as a individual agent doing advertisement, I think the Messenger lead ad is really powerful. I mean, as a refresher, a lead ad is a lead registration form, pops up right inside Facebook and captures a couple of questions the consumers answer, but their contact information, which is pre-populated from their Facebook profile. So better, you know, more than not, it is accurate, right? Data accuracy, really important for us from a lead generation perspective. That is how Ylopo generates all of your leads, right? With the Messenger component, you know, with lead ads, what's really interesting about it is you're capturing the same information from the consumer. What is your email, contact information? What is your time frame for purchase? All that kind of stuff. But as soon as the person clicks the first button, now you two are connected via Messenger, right? So even if that consumer does not finish the decision tree and answer all of the questions, you know this is a person interested in real estate in some way, and that you can contact this person, right? Whereas on a lead registration form, you have to wait for this person to fill out the entire form and press submit in order to become a real opportunity for you. And from the stats, what I saw was if our cost per lead, let's just use round numbers, was 5 on, you know, on a Facebook lead ad, the cost per getting someone to start a form was like somewhere around 2 to 2.5, right? So in terms of getting someone engaged, quote unquote, into a conversation with you, I think Messenger actually is more efficient, you know, and there is a real possibility that because a consumer doesn't get as many Facebook messages, that, you know, they will respond to a Facebook message even more so than a text or a phone call from you, right? So highly encourage all of you guys to try it out. Messenger lead ads, just Google it if you don't know how to set it up. Takes a little bit of work, you know, so you have to get used to the platform. But for any of you sophisticated marketers out there who want to try something new, that's one thing I highly recommend.
Yeah,
I highly recommend that too. We've seen, I'm sure what you guys have seen also, right? Kind of going back to what I said earlier, the system is great. Like you say to the system, hey, I want leads. I'm using Facebook lead ads. It's going to deliver you a lot of leads at a very efficient CPL, right? What we've seen with Messenger, and I think it's because this is like its stepped approach, answer one question, then answer the next question, we've seen higher quality leads from lead ads within a Messenger conversation as well. So agree, highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that one of the interesting things that I found with Facebook Messenger, so what G was alluding to was I was running some advertising testing on recruiting, which recruiting for real estate brokerage, it's a challenging method to reach people just because agents don't want to fill out their information on a lead ad form. They just, you know, they get it. And I was surprised because I ran more emotional type stuff targeting, you know, some of the pain points, that the stress or the fear of not being, you know, in a collaborative environment. And I was surprised because it's still to this date the best performing recruiting ad I've ever done. It went to Facebook Messenger You know, I was really surprised. You know, there's a lot of late night inbound messages where I guess maybe agents were up late at night, but starting the conversation like right away. And it's just, I think, G, you hit the nail on the head. The challenge is, if you're a big business, tracking Facebook Messenger, you know, and getting that information to where it's in a CRM or whatever. You know, is there any hope that like there'll be more API access to the conversations so that businesses like myself, not Ylopo, but the real estate brokerages can kind of scale that conversational, or is it too privacy concerns would be a challenge maybe?
I think that's why there hasn't been kind of like as fast and furious as some of our other product development. And you know, we've got open APIs we have for quite some time, right? But yes, privacy is obviously of utmost concern. And so, you know, the teams are certainly very thoughtful about kind of what gets surfaced when, not only that, but then also to who, right? So, you know, again, you guys are familiar with this. We have a very robust app review process for access to the APIs as well. And the teams have to be very careful there for sure.
Okay. I could keep going, G, but I don't want to hog all the time. You're on mute.
Mute for some reason. Yeah, me too. Hey, Kiwi or Howard, do you guys have any questions for Elizabeth?
My question, of course, is super high level, right? So we're kind of making the turn in 2020, right? And then we're going into 21. So I want to talk about how you think about 2021, and kind of a two-part question. I think the most important part of the question is, do you see think about like maybe like a car, right? So sometimes cars, they have like little improvements, right? Mobile phone charger, like, okay, who cares, right? But then all of a sudden there's a totally new body style, like a major significant difference, right? Happens every, whatever it is, 4 or 5 years. When you look at 21, have you guys, you know, I assume already started to do your planning and thinking about that and where you're really going to be sort of focused on? Do you see 21 as, okay, we're focused on video, we're focused on AI, we're focused on improving dynamic marketing and dynamic remarketing, and it's going to be a year of improvements? And we know it'll be a year of improvements, right? But is there also something big and dramatic that's going to happen in 21? So that's, and you have to say,
I feel bad saying there's not going to be something big and dramatic in 21, because it makes it seem like, you know, there's nothing big and flashy and exciting. Howard, but
where are your priorities, to rephrase it, where are your priorities as a company?
Yes, yeah. So in 2021, you know, I think we're doubling down on everything that we've said, I would say, in the past, you know, maybe 2 years, and being more vocal about it, right? So our teams have been hard at work, and you guys know my counterpart, Scott Shapiro, and maybe even some on the call have seen him doing, you know, other webinars as well. But, you know, we've been doubling down on kind of getting our messages out into the market. So Scott's been spearheading basically all of our marketing and industry outreach. We recently published a real estate professionals playbook, which you all are proudly featured in, which we were really excited about. But doing more things like that, and specifically focused on the local real estate market, because we realize, you know, what a large opportunity that exists there. So that, and then also, as you guys know, right, doubling down on our partner strategy. I think what we continue to realize, and this is not new news, but every day we just kind of get more proof points around it, is that agents are having more success when they work with a partner. The Facebook Ads Manager UI is incredibly powerful, but at the same time, it's incredibly complex, right? And real estate agents are super busy doing all the things that make them successful, right? They're in the market, they're understanding what's going on in their neighborhoods, they're with clients, they're helping clients stage homes, sell homes, open houses, so on and so forth. We heard this incredible stat that agents spend like nearly 9 hours every week taking care of marketing tasks, right? And again, that coupled with the fact that we know how complex the Facebook ad platform is, it's not fair to expect that agents are going to be able to master it, right? There's a lot going on there. We've talked about a lot of it today, right? Dynamic ads, which requires you to set up a catalog and a pixel on your website, right? And all this other stuff. And so really continuing to partner, of course, with companies like yourselves to bring the power of Facebook advertising to agents in a way where it's easy for them, but takes advantage of all the sophistication of Facebook advertising on the back end. So yeah, can't double down on that point enough. If you're not working with a partner, go find one. Obviously, Ylopo is a great one. That's why I'm here today. But yeah, it's really important for you to realize the value of the platform in the most effective and efficient way possible.
Yeah, well, look, if it was infinitely sort of easy to use, G and I would be looking, for another line of work, right?
Exactly.
So it's incredibly powerful, and then our job is to create the plumbing so that it's really easy, right? So that our clients don't have to think about it. And I always think about our mission as a company, which is to empower solo agents, small teams, medium teams, large teams, to empower them against the super large real estate portals who will go nameless, who are literally, if you go into their 10Ks, are spending over $1 billion a year on marketing and technology. And so what's really cool is, because you mentioned something, Elizabeth, when you were just speaking about, the local market. It's all about the local market. And thankfully our clients, like Barry, does not have to worry about crushing it in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, right? Barry has to worry about crushing it in Virginia Beach and that area. And, Facebook, Instagram has really empowered, our teams to crush it in their local market, not have to spend $1 zillion on TV and radio and all the super expensive stuff and massive billboards and that kind of thing. And they can really, really cost effectively, and it's gotten even more cost effective, just as we like to say, smother their market. So as you guys continue to develop tools, we can make it easy for our clients to access, as the partner. So it's really, if you think about it, it's kind of an elegant three-way partnership with you guys, us in the middle, and our small team clients.
Absolutely.
Questions? Kiwi, you have a question?
Yeah, so AI, obviously it's a big buzzword, but I know Facebook spends a lot of money in investing in AI, figuring out, how to use AI effectively. How is that going to help change our lives? Like, for example, when it comes to messages and messaging and being able to book appointments and into calendars, and there's this sort of thing that AI is going to be able to do for us through the Facebook platform, or what sort of things will it be doing?
That's a great question, Kiwi, and I think there's still a lot to learn about AI, right? And it's funny because certainly, like, in the advertising world, right, like, we're still talking to many agents about like creating Facebook business pages, right? So like in so many instances that way, we've got such a long way to get to before we think about how AI could be available kind of at that level. But to your point, yes, I think there are a lot of teams highly focused on it. I think we're still yet to see kind of what the power is going to be of it, how it's going to kind of transform our digital experiences. And so I know this is like not a super like detailed answer here, but I think like more to come, watch this space is probably, the best thing I can say right now. I think there's still so much to learn and understand.
Yeah, and ironically, my cousin works on the Facebook ads team, and he says a lot is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I read a book recently called "The Future is Faster Than You Think," and there's a big section in here about virtual reality, and they're also talking about how this could potentially change in the real estate space, especially right now. Right, we're seeing a lot of people doing 3D tours and doing video walkthroughs. But man, I mean, if you could just put on the goggles and feel like you're walking through that property and see everything, that would be amazing. But I know that's coming at some stage. So how far away do you think we are from being able to like get more adoption for this?
I would say this is probably something that I'm most excited for because of just, again, the applicability of it for our space, right? And if I can kind of quickly talk about using live platforms to host virtual open houses. We saw that, and we also had to kind of quickly put together our POV and kind of how-to guides for agents on how to use that back in March, so that they could continue to show homes, right, that sellers needed to sell. So, seeing that, and obviously like its simplest form, which is really, again, just going live and walking around the house with your cell phone, right? Just to show people rooms. And yes, and thinking about how that would be applicable in a VR world. Again, I would kind of go back to my earlier point, which is that we still see a lot of horizontal photos of homes, right? We haven't made the transition to vertical. We haven't made the transition to video in many regards, although I would say some of that work is accelerated thanks to all of you. So please keep it up, do more. I think things like Matterport as well, right? 3D tours, stuff like that. We want to see more of that. And I think that's really kind of a stepping stone to get us closer to VR. But, I think for agents, certainly it's understanding, how they're going to be able to produce the content, right, before we get it into the goggles. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest parts that's missing so far.
Gotcha. What about, someone just messaged me. She was asking about geofencing. How can we do geofencing? And what's the difference between geofencing and the radius with Facebook? Can you speak a little bit about, because I know that stuff's changed.
Yeah, this is a great question. So, well, just so quick for everyone who doesn't know. So there's a minimum 15-mile radius targeting when you're looking at like a particular address or lat long, right? So on and so forth. So there, again, I'll go back to kind of what we're talking about earlier, which is the ability for the system to optimize, right? There's kind of this two-layered targeting, right, if you will, which is first, it's who your target audience is, and then second, it's who within your target audience is most likely to take this action. So, while the geo-targeting, just to put some guardrails up, I think is important, I don't think it's everything. And then, if you want to talk about dynamic ads like we were talking about earlier, that's something that's kind of taken into consideration. It's not even something that you actually need to set up in the system, right? So I would say, again, the system is learning from data in and ensuring that relevant audiences are viewing ads is really, kind of the most important part there.
Gotcha. Okay. And so let's talk about video a little bit. I read your last publication that you guys put out on the future of real estate, and video is obviously a huge one. We have the Diva platform. What sort of video, are you seeing, especially if, as an agent, if they really want to focus on video in 2021, what types of video do you think they should be focusing on? Is it the live stuff versus, shorter sort of stuff for like Instagram or Instagram stories? Obviously, a blend of everything would be perfect, but can you just give us some sort of high-level highlights on what you see is working really, really well?
Yeah, and actually you said it, right? A little bit of everything, I think, is what matters. And again, for agents, it really depends on what you're trying to drive, right? So for example, live video is always going to be, an amazing option for open houses. I think, lots of buyers will go to like 15, 20 open houses, right, before they settle on the right one. Well, could we help them go to 10 of those virtually and only 5 of those in person, save a lot of time, save a lot of effort. I think certainly, you know, again, the COVID-19 world helped highlight how reasonable it was to do that. And I think, you know, we'll definitely continue to see more of that. So live open houses, virtual open houses, I don't think is something that's going to go away. But then, you know, when it comes to videos for advertising, it's a totally different ballgame, right? You're not going to put up a 1-hour open house as your ad creative, right? No one's going to kind of sit around long enough to go through that. So, you know, again, the short form video, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, when it comes to advertising, again, is also still going to be incredibly important. And then in terms of what the content of that video is, I think, again, it really depends on what are you trying to drive. If you're trying to sell a home, well, maybe you want to do, you know, like, what are the 3 things that really stand out in this home? Is it the view? Is it the master bedroom? Is it the kitchen, right? Is it the, you know, the property that it sits on? And kind of doing those quick hits, just enough to tease the consumer to say, hey, please reach out to me. I'd love to tell you more about this property or others that you might be interested in, right? Or maybe, though, you know, we know there's plenty of agents out there that don't have listings, right? So maybe they need to do some more brand building in order to generate demand for their services. So, you know, maybe it's more testimonial types of video, so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, I think really, again, I'll go back to, it depends what you're trying to drive. And then in terms of like Facebook or Instagram, I think that it will always be important to be on both, right? I think that there are different usage behaviors and patterns. It's why, you know, we always talk about with your advertising to make sure you opt in to both Facebook and Instagram and really all of the placements that are available across the family of apps and services, because yeah, people's usage behavior just wildly varies, right? Some people prefer Instagram, some people prefer Facebook, and vice versa. So important to be represented in every place that you can.
Yeah, and on the video side, you know, this is why we invested so much in our Diva platform, right? You know, I think that when it comes to actual advertising, agents don't really understand how short, you know, these videos need to be to capture the attention of the consumer. If it's over 30 seconds, you've got no chance, right? It's got to be in that 15 to 30 second sweet spot, which is what our Diva advertisements look like. You know, that being said, and we do this ourselves, right? You know, what we find with video is that sequencing is so important. It's what Kiwi always says from Gary Vee, jab, jab, right hook, right? We start with a short video that's 15 to 30 seconds long that has a pattern interrupt, you know, get this person in the door to watch 2-3 seconds, and then a very short video doing whatever it is that we're advertising for. And then we're taking the people who have watched that video, creating a custom audience around that, and then we're targeting them with longer videos, right? So there is a place and time for doing long form, even in Facebook advertising. But if you start and lead with that, like, you know, one of the things I see agents do all the time, which is great as an organic video, but I think makes not a great ad, is they spend like 5 minutes doing a market update video. You know, again, that's great for your organic audience, but as an ad unit, that's not going to work very well, right? But if you have a audience of people that you've been advertising to for a while, especially people who have watched your previous videos, to target them with a longer form ad once you've already built credibility can be really powerful, right? So there's a lot of nuance when it comes to video advertising. And you know, this is one of, you know, I'm glad you brought this up, Kiwi. With video ads, you know, where are you seeing the majority of traction with video at this point? You know, what I've noticed is, I'm very surprised by this. We obviously run video ads across the network, all network on Facebook, right? Facebook, Instagram, stories, all this kind of stuff. When we originally started doing video at scale, I thought that we would see a lot of impressions from Instagram stories because that's a video format. And, you know, right now I'm seeing probably 60 to 70% of our video ad impressions on Facebook videos, right? So, you know, can you speak to what the trends look like in terms of where video marketing is going, in terms of where the ad inventory is and what people are spending their time on?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one, G, because again, you have to think about like how the system is prioritizing delivery, right? So this may not be reflective of the consumption patterns by each platform, but actually more reflective of your specific target audience and where those people are spending their time and consuming video. But I would say, you know, of course, Facebook has invested quite a bit into the Facebook Watch platform, right? Again, we understand the value of both short form video, which I think is more commonly consumed in feed, but also knowing that people, you know, kind of want to lay back and watch more longer form video, giving them a destination to do that in Facebook Watch, or even in just like a suggested video stream, right? Which is that like, okay, after you've watched a video, since you like that, and you know, based on others that you've watched in the past, here are some more that might be interesting to you, right? So yeah, so I think of course there's definitely a lot of behavior like that happening on Facebook, but certainly on Instagram as well, right? But I think again, the demographic of people who are consuming video on Facebook versus Instagram probably looks a little different. But certainly IGTV as the kind of Instagram equivalent to Facebook Watch in the Instagram platform, certainly seeing a lot of content there. But again, I think the content on Instagram TV probably looks very different than the content that's on Facebook Watch, right? So yeah, thinking about what type of content it is, who's consuming it, and I think that will kind of lead you to, you know, which platform is the right platform for that audience and that type of content.
Yeah, and I haven't dived deep into this as you know, yet, but I assume that with Instagram Reels coming out as well, there's just going to be more and more emphasis on video, right?
I
Yeah,
think that's
you know,
right. Absolutely. Yes.
yeah, and demographics as they shift, you know, video advertising in those channels is going to be more important. I you know, Kiwi and I talk about this all the time. It's we run, you know, you guys as our clients have the ability to run Diva listing rockets anytime, right? But the penetration rate on that is still fairly low. I mean, you know, we get, you know, probably 30 to 40, 30 to 50 Diva ads that gets run every day. From the stats that I see, there is no more efficient way to advertise on Facebook than to run a short form video ad to get in front of consumers, right? And so I just highly encourage all of you that aren't running Diva listing rockets or have no idea what I'm talking about to reach out to our support team and to get some training on that and give it a shot. If you try it and you don't like it and it doesn't work for you, then obviously don't do it again. But I would be surprised if you didn't get value from it.
One little tip on the Diva listing rockets, which we got from Mike Bernier, is a lot of folks will turn their comments off, right? But they at RG on purpose leave it on. He can delete anything if there's sort of a comment that runs afoul, but they have picked up so many actual prospects from engaging with the folks who are leaving comments. So the more they're running a lot of Diva listing rockets, a lot of homes, inviting people to sort of comment on the homes, get feedback. Well, get people's comments on the homes. Now you're in a conversation. You could shift it to Messenger, all that kind of stuff, right? So I think, you know, to be clear, when G's saying it's underpenetrated, it's not by Facebook. It's underpenetrated by our own community. We actually have to do a better job. We have to do a better job educating our own community at the power of video, the power of Diva as the most effective, cost-effective ad unit available. And we know that is definitely a mission for us. And we've actually got a really good surprise for you, Elizabeth, that we can't really talk about for 2021 that you guys are going to be really happy about at Facebook. But I can't talk about it. Anyway, so
for another time.
For another time. Well, we're coming up on the hour. Did anyone else want to sneak in the really important last question, or should we do our parting shots?
Did you guys already take the sizes for our Facebook shirts? Was that before I came on?
No, that wasn't in the banner session. We didn't get that. Yeah.
Oh,
Elizabeth have, by the way, does Elizabeth have Ylopo swag?
I have no Ylopo swag. I'm actually like really shocked that. So let's do a swag. Exactly. Let's do a swag swap. I'm into that.
Okay. Yes. For the whole household, however big that is, we got to get some Ylopo swag. And winter's coming in DC, so you got to get the hoodie that's really comfortable and warm.
Love it.
Awesome. Good stuff. So,
Elizabeth, if we want to tag you on Instagram, what's your handle?
My handle on Instagram is EJ Ghosh, my last name.
Okay, great.
Cool. So, all right. Any who wants to go around with the parting shots, parting thoughts? We'll give you a little time, Elizabeth, to think about your parting words. We'll start with the master here, G.
Oh, parting shots. Well, first off, big thank you, Elizabeth, for jumping on. What I'd say high level is Facebook's always changing. It's getting better. What I love about the platform, is compared to other ad tech platforms, like you guys just move so fast, right? Like you take feedback, you incorporate it, you move it. And, it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on. So if you guys have questions about Facebook advertising, especially advertising on your own, just know that like Ylopo, we're experts at this. We do this for you, but we're also here to help you with your own advertising too. I feel a lot of questions, like people just email me and ask, hey, how do I do this? And if I can answer it or my team can answer it, we're going to respond, right? So I highly encourage all of you guys, if you're watching this webinar, obviously you're interested in doing Facebook marketing or you're interested in Facebook in general, and Facebook ads in general, post in the YSC. Anytime you have an organic ad question or how to run your own Facebook ads, if we can help, we're going to not hold that knowledge back, right? So let's all share as a community, and we hopefully can help you guys keep on top of all the trends that are happening.
It's a really great point. You have a great, you have a question, you want some help. We have such an amazing, vibrant, talkative community. Post in the Facebook Ylopo Success community, and you'll get Kiwi and G and Barry answering, but you also get a lot of folks who are doing, they're in the lab, and they're teams that are doing some really cool stuff that even we don't know about. So posting in the YC is great. Kiwi, parting thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we heard it from, I don't want to say the horse's mouth, right? It's a terrible analogy, but, from Facebook themselves are telling us video. So I want to make sure everyone in our audience who's having any trouble with video, don't know how to use Diva properly, or just has questions around strategy or trying to figure anything out, just email me directly, kiwi@ylopo.com, or you can set up an appointment with me, drift.me/kiwi. That'll go straight to my calendar, put a time on my calendar, and let's sit down and figure it out and get you and your team dialed in so you can use a video most effectively, because we've got all the tools there. And I still think a lot of people struggle. I'm quite sure how to use them properly, but I want to help you. So let's just make that happen.
Drift.me/Kiwi, right?
Yep, drift.me/Kiwi.
All right, Barry?
I think mine is more just, it seems like every 3 weeks in a Facebook group, there's for real estate agents, there's a Facebook change, and the sky suddenly falls. Everybody's freaking out, and they're theorizing about this and that. And I think, one of the things that I think I kind of felt in this is the true partnership between Ylopo and Facebook, and that regardless of what, like a lot of the changes over the last 2 years have worked out to my betterment as a Ylopo customer, because of the relationship that Ylopo and Facebook has. And so for me, I just got the warm fuzzies, Howard. That's really the best way to put it, man. I just like, okay, we're gonna be okay. We're Elizabeth's our person. We're gonna, not that I was worried about it, but it seems to come up sometimes because people just, I don't know if it's misinformation or ignorance or both. And so it's really cool just to hear Facebook's focus on the real estate industry. It's very, very exciting.
Awesome. Elizabeth.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really going to build a little bit off of what Barry said, and kind of going back to, Howard, the question you asked me earlier, which is like, what are we focusing on in 2021? And I think we want to make Facebook advertising more accessible to local businesses, and obviously, with agents for our team being a main focus of that. Agents, please take those 9 hours back every week, right? We really want to ensure we're driving you into tools and solutions that are going to be effective for you. I think Facebook, the platform, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, so on and so forth, can be incredibly powerful. But again, it's complex. right? And it's hard to figure out. I've been at the company for 6 years now, and I'm still having a hard time figuring out, right, how to do some things, or I'll go into the system and I'll try to run ads through Ads Manager, and I run into issues, right? So take those 9 hours back, find a partner that you trust. Ylopo is obviously an amazing option, but use these tools that are at your disposal. I do believe that you'll have more effective and more efficient results from your ad buys if you do that.
Awesome. And I'll just echo, we appreciate Facebook as a partner. We appreciate how responsive Facebook has been to little old Ylopo, and in a sense, they're being responsive to our community, who is voicing through us what they would really want and need. Really optimistic, really looking forward to the future. I guess really just humbled, we were humbled to be mentioned in the, in some of your case studies, humbled to be mentioned in the recent, real estate piece. That was a really pleasant surprise. So onward and upward, as I always say. We're looking forward to furthering the relationship, continuing. We'll have Elizabeth on again, and of course, when the world is right and we do the Ylopo Success Summit with 2,000 people, I'm sure that Elizabeth and Scott will be on stage, right?
We would love it. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. G, Barry, Kiwi, Elizabeth. Till next
Thanks
time.
for having me. Great to see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.